Ladies and gentlemen, after a week's break, well deserved, we come into the second part of the season and we begin with our second sprint event of the season. It is Imola. We have 11 laps of the sprint, 32 laps of our feature race, and looking forward to this one. Plenty of track limits could potentially be on offer, but yeah, Friday night action tier 3. It's going to be a hell of a Friday night worth of action. Scotty here with you to bring you all the action. Thankfully, I'm not alone. I've got GLX Cam beside me. Cam, how are you on this lovely Friday evening?
Not too bad, Scotty. Can't complain. What about you?
Pretty good actually. Enjoyed my little break, and mostly exactly having a bit of a break. So obviously able to switch off a little bit from the game for about a week, and yeah, obviously ready to hit back at it for about another month before we actually see the OFI event at the start of October. So definitely looking forward to it. Obviously, interesting tracks that we've got ahead. Obviously, Imola Sprint. A bit of a bogey track, at least for myself, in the past, but I know a lot of drivers do love this track, and yeah, should be very, very exciting. Dry weather for all sessions tonight as well, so won't need the inters or the wet weather tyres, so should make for some fantastic action. Obviously, the long start finish straight, sort of that's going to be where we see most of our overtaking tonight at turns 1 and 2. But we'll have a quick look at our calendar. And obviously Zandvoort, lucky for some, unlucky for others. So I think a few people needed the break. We got Imola this weekend, and then obviously Baku next weekend, which I have a feeling a lot of drivers are really sighing about. And then Singapore. So we've got a traditional track now, and then a couple of street tracks that are not exactly people's favourites. So obviously the guys are going to have to enjoy tonight, but Imola, Cam, how do you find it actually? Is it obviously one of those traditional tracks? Do you like it at least on this game, and sort of the layout of it? How do you find it?
I guess as a Ferrari driver, you gotta do good for the Tifosi. But it's okay. There's definitely track limits that can definitely play a huge factor tonight, tomorrow, and the day after that with a tier 2 and 1. But yeah, the track layout, it definitely runs well. Like the layout, and it's just mainly track limits that can be quite annoying, especially at the last couple turns and just before the downhill to the uphill section.
Yeah, and it's sort of, I know one of the big areas of concern, obviously, the three chicanes you've got, obviously 2, 3, and 4, and then 5 and 6, and then obviously towards the end of the lap of turn 14 and 15, they're the three sections that you really need to get right. Obviously, very easy to go wide at the second chicane, and obviously the runoff at the third chicane, so obviously they're the ones that you've got to do. Obviously, Aquamilarale, obviously the fast right-hander uphill. We've seen guys run wide and pick up warnings there. You've got Toaster turn 7. We've seen a couple of incidents happening there in the past, but yeah, it's definitely an interesting track. Obviously, an old traditional circuit. I don't mind driving it. It's just don't tend to have much luck here, but yeah, should be a very, very good one. We'll have a quick look at our lineup now, and we can see obviously some of the leading contenders, King Lee, King Dogger, doing quite well. Tyrone, who won our last event, which we'll have a look shortly. Loading Rifle as well. He's been a very, very quick driver in Tier 3. And Xandon as well. He's finding more and more pace on this game. So, yeah, should be a very interesting race tonight. Oscar Piastri going as well for Williams. He impressed me in one of the earlier races, and he's obviously pinched a full-time seat with Williams, so it's going to be very, very tough to pick a winner tonight. But looking at our previous race results, it was the Alpine. Buster will be very happy. Tyrone picking up the W in the 35% race at Netherlands, just beating out Loading Rifle by 0.6 of a second. Loading Rifle did get the fastest lap, and then Oscar Piastri got the three guys that I sort of talked about were the three guys on the podium. Mercy just missing out by just about half a second. F1 Original Paulie rounding out our top 5. Driver standings now. It's getting a little bit closer up the front. King Lee, 130 points, but Tyrone with 2 victories now, moving within 16 points. Loading Rifle obviously within within distance, obviously only 24 points, which is a race victory. Obviously, you've got sprint points available for tonight as well. Mercy and Junkyard Dog rounding out top 5. Obviously, Hato 113, but obviously he's moved up to tier 2 and showing some good form up in tier 2. So obviously the move was necessary, and yeah, he's looking good. But King Lee, Tyrone, Lightning Rifle, probably your 3 favourites for the driver standings. Constructors time, it is the RBs that are leading by 23 points. Alpine, obviously, with Tyrone's victory last time out, moving them into P2. Close battle with Ferrari in P3. Mercedes, Red Bull, Haas, McLaren, Sauber, Aston Martin, and Williams rounding out 10. Overall, Constructors, after 8 rounds, it is your team, Cam. Ferrari only by 17 points over the RBs. It is very close, only a 17-point gap, but it's pretty much the 2 out front romping away. Nearly 100-point difference between McLaren, Haas, Alpine, Williams, which are fighting for a good battle for P3. But Cam, obviously, your team Ferrari and the Racing Bulls, they're the 2 teams to chase in this season so far.
Yeah, Ferrari have been on top for the whole season. But after performance from myself and a couple of our Ferrari boys, I know Meowsy got very unlucky. So us tier 1 boys didn't do too good. RB have closed the gap a bit from like 70 points or something, and also obviously Loading Rifle doing really well in tier 3, but it's definitely going to be a very close battle. This is when you've got to start really locking in, really just getting consistent performances, consistent results for your team, and just keep it clean as every race goes.
Yeah, exactly right. As we'll have a look before we get out on track, our track details. So it will be 11 laps in the sprint, 32 laps around in the feature around this 4.909 kilometre circuit, 19 corners, only the one DRS zone. Down the start-finish straight. Lap record was a 1:15.484 by Lewis Hamilton in 2020. You can see sort of mid-range to sort of the lower end in terms of sort of the tyre stress, the braking, all 3s, traction, asphalt grip at a 2. Track evolution, not a lot of track evolution around here, rated as a 2, which you can see why we have the softest of the Pirelli range, the C3, the C4, and the C5. Obviously, the rear right, I should say, takes a little bit of the punishment around here. Obviously, a majority left turn circuit, or anti-clockwise circuit, so sort of why the outside tyres get a little bit of a punishment. But ready to get into it. Sprint quali has started, so let's begin our opening race in round 9 Imola. It is Sprint Imola 43, so let's get underway. Alright, so as we load into the session, just under 10 minutes left to go in the session. A lot of guys out on the outlaps. We've got Oscar Piastri go. He's just crossed the line, but has
this next lap.
So, that's probably why. Yeah, that last corner, or the last official left-hand corner, could be a little bit difficult because easily to run wide, and that obviously completely screws your following laps. So, obviously, he'll be out of it for the time being. As we'll just get everything else up for everybody at home. And as you can see, a few guys on the mediums, a couple of guys on the soft. I believe, from memory from Jeddah, you only get 1 medium and 1 soft for this quali session as well. So a lot of guys taking the opportunity to use that first set of medium tyres to at least get a bit of a banker lap in.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting with the sprint race and quali in the sprint format. With what tyres you use can be an interesting strategy, as it's going to be Ashton who does the first lap if he doesn't validate on the softs. So it'll be one of his only runs, as Scotty said, for only getting one soft tyre for sprint, but he hasn't validated. So if you're on the softs, you don't want to invalidate because you don't want to really use them up. You want the softs to be as good as possible.
Well, we saw Ikoski not bid it, but run wide at turn 9, invalidate their lap as well. So we've seen a lot of guys with the red track map. A-Dog's invalidated as well. So it's going to be Junkyard Dog that picks up the first lap. Valid, which is a 1:16.354, which was on the medium tyres. Broseph has invalidated as well. So plenty of guys. It's just going to be a matter of if you can get the lap in. Loading Rifle coming down to the second last corner, but it's technically the third last corner because the little kink before the start finish line does count as turn 19. But Loading Rifle does go P3. Bang retires, and I think he's got a quali ban, so that's why he's out of the session at the moment. But World Eater, haven't seen much for World Eater unless he's under a different username. But interested to see how they go. But 15.896, about half second at the moment. But again, on the medium tyre, so not necessarily representative times at the moment.
Yeah, it's obviously we said before, interesting with the tyre compounds of Loading Rifle. There's a 16.6 on the medium compound tyres, which was his push lap. I also saw Kingy invalidating on the meds as Batman comes out as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what people use, what different tyre compounds they use, and also the ERS modes. As we know, this F124 game, you can use every single mode out of none, medium, hot lap, and overtake during your quali and race. So it just provides a bit more strategy, a bit more brain power for this game.
Yeah, as we're watching T7's coming through the last couple of corners, as Loading Rifle goes even quicker at 15.4. So it seems like a lot of these guys are able to doing a quick lap on their second medium run as T7 goes at 15.5. So that's actually a very, very close time between the top two. But yeah, World Eater 15.8 at the moment. Oscar Piastri P4. As we've got J Cash Mash in P15, about to cross the line. Stays in P15. So must have been a invalid lap time. But yeah, a lot of invalid laps. As we've got one of the Williams who, well, that's Oscar Piastri go. That is an invalidation there. That's a spin. Thankfully keeps it out of the wall. As the Sauber behind will cross the line. And I think that was Zen who's about to start his next lap. As we've got Tyrone who's invalidated. We've got a Merc now coming. That's A-Dog on an out lap. So this session's gone quickly so far. Only a 12-minute session. We're down to our last 5 minutes. And as you can see, we've only got 8 drivers that have actually set a valid lap time. So it is very important to get even if you only go 90% sort of pace-wise, just get a lap time on the board. As a lot of guys are going to come in to probably use their set of softs. But it'll be interesting to see Parallel Aussies. He's invalidated and will be into the pits. So it's definitely getting a bit of a struggle street for these guys. Batman on the medium tyres hasn't set a lap time. Will be able to finish this lap coming to the pit lane to get those softs on, crosses the line. And goes into the top 7. I think came at J Cash Mash up into the top 3 on a 15.8. So how's Xander going on the soft compounded tyres? Ads, good to see you as always as well. As we see invalidated, and I think he did that on the exit of turn 17, unfortunately. And again, another driver that's been not binned but invalidated at the last sector. So clearly those last couple of corners struggling. A-Dog, how's he's going? Does get a time on the board, P7, 16.3. And that's even on the softs too, so that's actually a good lap from the guys ahead. How is F1 Original poorly going? Oh, that got very close to being all 4 wheels off track at turn 9. And then we can see this corner. Upper Miller Railway wasn't too bad. Now the third chicane, right to the curbs. Got to be real careful you don't go wide. And easily invalidation out of area to Alta. And then to the two left-handers. It's a valid lap. Can F1 Original Paulie go close to the top? He does jump into the top 10. 16.3 with 3 minutes left to go.
Yeah, and you can just tell those medium runners at the front, that's very good lap times on the mediums, and I think it was pretty much all in the second lap that they hit those times. So the mediums taking a bit to really get to grip, get to temperature. But yeah, Paulie will want to try and improve, get into a better position for scoring, but it is just a sprint
Sorry,
race.
I'll just interrupt quickly. Can you send
Yeah.
Mercy an invite for me, please? I think he was obviously not sure if he'd make it home, and I'm pretty sure he can get the seat. I believe.
I'll get that.
Not sure which team we're missing, but if it's them, as we're seeing a little bit of a... We've only got one Merc in, so he can definitely join. Whether we'll have time to actually get
He's reserving as well.
And whether or not we can get a lap time in for him, not sure. But I think being only sprint quality and reminder, only the top 8 places get points, 8 to 1. So probably not a massive deal if he doesn't score in the sprint. As F1 Original Paulie, he's coming in, so that will be their session done. Currently just inside the top 10. We've got one of the McLarens. I think that's Stommel across to the line to start their lap. They can go for another lap if they need to. Not Ashton, it's going to be Zandon. This is a valid lap. He just keeps it within the white lines. A lot of guys on the outlaps for their final run in sprint quali. Zandon only goes P11. So that's probably had to take it that cautious just to make sure he got a lap in. Aussie starting his next one. How's Ashton going? Crosses the line for his next lap. How's the RP Tyrone? Our winner at the Netherlands. Can they find themselves up the top here in sprint quali? Minute left to go. Crosses the line. Goes P7. So it's a solid start. Can bag a couple of points from there. As long as he doesn't drop down too many positions. Williams Ekoski starting his final run now. I think that might be one of the Haas's. As we see Cash Mash stays P4. Broster's gone up into the top 3 as well in those soft compounded tyres. So he's going to be a little bit out of sync. Just got to be careful not to block anybody. As we got the 2 Ferraris, Batman. And who's that? I saw someone move up. World Eater and I think Donmore. So Donmore 5th, World Eater in 6th. I'm going to check these top guys. How's T7 and loading rifle going? It's getting close. 10 seconds left to go in the session. So hopefully Mercy can get in. We hit the checkered flag now. And I think it's going to be Oscar Piastri go P3, second row at the moment. I think we've got the other Alpine of Junkyard Dog. Can they move towards the top 10? He goes pole, even better, 15.3. Does Loading Rifle or T7s have anything better? Loading Rifle coming to the line now. Crosses it. 14.8, finds half a second. What about T7s? He finds only 2/10. Stays on the front row until Cash Mash knocks him off. Love their lap time from the Haas driver. We got the 2 McLarens and the 2 Ferraris next across the line. Batman, unfortunately, is invalidated. How about our championship leader, King Dogger? He's up. He hasn't got a solid time on the board, and he gully goes 13th. Obviously, he won't lose a ton of points if he can't score, but he'd want to be higher up. World Eater does go into... World Death Eater, I think. I'm gonna say World Eater. So apologies for the bungled username if that's not quite correct. Aussie has invalidated, so that will be qualifying done, and it is going to be Loading Rifle, the RB, 14.8. So very, very nice lap time from the RB driver. Cash Mash, fantastic to see the Haas up there in P2. T7's in P3. Junkyard Dog rounding out our second row.
Yeah, very good lap from Loading Rifle.
Yeah, very, very solid lap as we have a look. And Batman only getting that time on those medium tyres out in 11th, but Loading Rifle takes the sprint pole ahead of Cash Mash, T7's Junkyard Dog, World Eater, Oscar Piastri Goat, Broseph, Domwart, Tyrone, A-Dog, Batman, F1 Original Paulie, King Dogger, Parallel Aussie, Ashton, Zan, and Ekoski, Strategy, and Banglabai, who had the quali ban. So, as I just quickly update my little cheat sheet, my Racing League tools. So 11 laps. Obviously, no one needs to come in for a pit stop. So hopefully we can have a nice clean race. I know a lot of the sprints at Jeddah was a little bit of carnage. So hopefully it can be a little bit better. But we'll wait and see. Obviously, a lot you'd imagine will start on the medium tyres and just go the 11 laps. I can try. I definitely know I've got him as a friend. Hopefully it doesn't keep me on the communication with online services. Come on. Alright, so Cam, you might have to give us a radio start for this if it doesn't want to get me off the online services. So, lovely EA game.
3, 4, 5 red lights. And it's lights out, and away we go for the Tier 3 sprint race at Imola. It seems like the Williams and Piastri has gotten a good start, but I'll tell you who's got an even better one. It's Loading Rifle, but it's Zandon and Fashal Strategy who have crashed off the start line. That's a lot of wind damage back at the back of the grid there. Zandon still at the start from the straight, but Loading Rifle 6-10 gap at the start now, quite clean for the front runners. For the pretty much mid-pack, except for Zandon and Fashal, and Fano has joined us for Piastri, moving up 2 spots. He dives it into Tosa, turn 7. So he's up to P5 now. It's Salmon's, Junkyard Doggy, Jackie Mash, and Loading Rifle, who are your top 4 currently. As T Salmon's 1.3 behind Junkyard Dog. So that top 3 starting to pull away just a tiny bit, and it's only Broseph and P8 taking the last position points scoring.
Oh, that's Ashton going super wide, and then he's having a spin. You saw him cut the chicane. Thankfully, he has a half spin and caught it, but both Saubers having an absolute shocking start. Zed, and obviously with the wing damage, we saw that in the background off the start. Loading Rifle getting the fastest lap, but Cash Mash wants the race lead as he covers. He gets the inside line. Does Loading Rifle go for the move down the inside? He doesn't. Cash Mash does run a little bit wide. That could force the issue for Loading Rifle, but I think Loading Rifle will just sit back and does just so. So nice battle between there. Haas leads the race at the moment. Lap 2 of 11. You can see everybody on the medium compounder tyres except for our championship leader, King Dogger, on the soft tyres. Needs to obviously make up a few positions to score a point. Remember, 8th place is a single point. And no point for fastest lap as well. So you need to be inside that top 8. But these top 3, very, very close together. Junkyard Dog hanging in there. T7 is the one that's probably struggling just a little bit. Obviously hasn't been able to stay with him, but he's within DRS range now. DRS will be enabled this time by, as you've got Zandon having a moment at the end of the spur chicane. So he's having a mare of a start. As we begin lap 3, it's going to be Cash Mash, but I have a feeling Loading Rifle with that DRS enabled should easily get the move done as Junkyard Dog gets fastest lap. How is Cash Mash in terms of straight line speed? Actually covers, so not a bad defense there. I thought Loading Rifle was just going to easily breeze by, but not quite. But he's got Junkyard Dog right on his rear and definitely has to keep one eye on the rearview mirror.
Yeah, it's always interesting to see what ranges we've got a McLaren of World Eater. He's around onto the gravel. He's got a 10-second for a severe collision with Broseph, who seems to be going. He's lost his front left end plate though, so he's probably out of the points now. I don't think he'll be able to score points with that damage. So a bit of an incident, but that puts your championship leader King Dogger into P8. Batman is going to just wave him through, because obviously King on the softs, he's going to want to start gaining positions. Is what's happened, Scotty.
Yeah, we're just seeing, obviously, Broseph, without the wing damage, obviously, it sort of caused a little bit of a bottleneck, and there was nearly contact with Aussie and Ikoski, but they've sorted themselves out. Strategy picking up 3-second time penalty. So I'm assuming World Eater's gotten wide, and because Broseph's front wing's gone, I'm assuming World Eater's just spun it off that second chicane. Broseph's had nowhere to go and just run into him, and somehow World Eater's got the penalty. So very unlucky. As Lightning Rifle goes around the outside and gets the job done, takes the race lead back. Junkyard Dog trying to maybe capitalise, but this battling by the top three has brought Oscar Piastri, who's actually made the move on T7, so look out for the Williams to definitely have a move, as we've got a collision at the back as well. We've got a Red Bull of Peril Aussie, and it was Koski as well, so I thought these two came very close at Acra Millerale, but they've clearly come together half a lap later as well. But we're still under green flag conditions at the moment. Domwar, I can see he's got front wing damage, and that goes super wide. You can see the left end plate is gone off the McLaren, and possibly the reason why he's struggling. King Dogger up into the top 7. So those soft tyres working nicely now, but I'm just wondering how long they can go before we start seeing those tyres start to drop off. So it could be in a little bit of trouble as World Eater comes into the pit lane to get onto a medium set of tyres, fix that front wing.
Yeah, a lot of carnage at the start, as it seems like Zandon is back off at turn 3, I believe, which is
actually both
Variante 10 Barulo.
Yeah, both ours are having an absolute shocker night. As Ashton Zandon, thankfully it's just a sprint, because they're having a mare as Donmore gets past King Dogger for P7. And that ought to be a move on by F1 Original Paulie, but obviously a bit of a DRS train, so no move done there as Ikosi comes into the pit lane to retire. And what are you seeing?
No, that's what I didn't know if he DNF'd on track.
No, that was in pit lane, but 5-car battle up the front. Tyrone in P6, he's sort of closed that gap a little bit. So it's just going to be how these guys sort of fight and how K-Mash's straight line speed is, but he's doing a good job holding Lightning Rifle to about that half-second gap. But again, track limit warnings and penalties could be a big play for the guys to watch out for as we come down into turns 17 and 18 on board with the RB. As it was a solid effort by Rifle, he's only 3/10 behind. We'll just see if the Haas decides to burn all their battery. Does he go to the left? Lightning Rifle will have to make this move around the outside, side by side. Mash has got to try and fight it. Lightning Rifle rides the curve. They somehow manage to get through, but the Alpine doesn't. That's Junkyard Dog. Not sure if he's had contact or if he just sort of had to take avoiding action, but he's dropped down to P6 behind his teammate. But thankfully, no damage. He'll recover, but he'll be sort of shooting himself a little bit that he's sort of out of this front pack now, but he's only about 5 seconds off the lead, so we'll see if he can close back up. But solid battling between these top two. I thought there might have been a little bit of contact once Rifle had to climb that second part of the curve, but actually did a good job. But yeah, Cash Mash is not going to drop this P1, but Oscar Piastri is in the prime position, third in the train. Anything happens, or he does go wide there.
Oh, T Summons is off.
Oh, he's having it. Oh, and he's into the wall as well.
So it's back. Oh, that's T Summons, sorry, yep.
He's good. Parolzi picks up a 3-second time penalty for track limit warnings behind. That would have been at turn 9. So, and he goes super wide at turn 10 as well. These guys having a lot of trouble keeping within the white lines. So I'm not looking forward to what we have to do tomorrow afternoon, and then for yourself, Cam, on Sunday afternoon. But seen some good battling at the moment as we drop that 5-car battle for the lead down to 3 cars. as we've got F1 Original Paulie in P8. He's got the final point at the moment. King Dogger's dropped back down to P6, so I'm just wondering if those soft tyres are already starting to hurt him. Because he was in P7, dropped to P8, and then, yeah, he's just sort of dropped back, so I'm just wondering if those softs are struggling at this point.
Yeah, I like the call at the start. I mean, he's starting further back than he's wanted, so he had to get some moves. Didn't really get enough. What's happened?
Well, I was just going to say, he had a shocking exit out of Tosa, and that allowed the Aston Martin of Bang, who actually started from the rear of the field, so Bang will somehow... Bang could easily go from last to picking up a couple of points here. He's only about a second off of Original Paulie, as Adolf picks up a 3-second penalty in front of him. So it is getting tight with the penalties. I would not want to read that incident reports as Xander picks up a penalty. Someone else also did as well. It's the guys at the back at the moment. But Cashback coming into turn 2 keeps the lead. So I'm just wondering if Lightning Rifle's playing this a little bit smart. Going to maybe wait for the last lap, but Batman's not. He's going to make the move up into P6. So, good job from Batman. I think Batman's running no assists tonight as well. I think he took off his last assist for tonight. So, yeah, so he's doing a really, really nice job at the moment, running it inside the top 6, having good pace. So, we'll see if he can close up to Junkyard Dog. But, yeah, he'd net 3 points. Be 3 critical points for Ferrari, considering Lightning Rifle currently is in the top 2 and scoring 7. So, in that very close battle up top of the overall constructors between Ferrari and Racing Bulls, Ferrari need to try and just minimise the loss with how well Lightning Rifle's going at the moment. But we're about to cross the line for lap 9, so 3 laps remaining. And I'm just wondering if Oscar might have to just start thinking about at least getting the second car in the train, just so he can potentially have a move in the lead. But Lightning Rifle again, he closes up to the Haas. The Haas will cover the inside line. Oh, as we go side by side. I wasn't expecting Oscar. I said he had to go for the move. He most certainly did. He has a bit of a wiggle. Thankfully saves it. I was on board with the RB because I wasn't expecting the Wombs to absolutely burn all their battery, but they actually got the job done up into P2. And I have a bit of a feeling that this Wombs will probably get the move done a little bit easier on Lightning Rifle, but has to start saving his battery once again. Strategy picks up a 3-second time penalty. T7s is in the pits for that front wing. We got a yellow flag. I think it's Bang that's had a moment. Oh, and I said last points, and I've sort of cursed him on that. So he's dropped back down to P11. So F1 Original Paulie still has the last point. Zen and no, Ashton's off. Oh, as Tyrone picks up a 3-second time penalty, and he goes super wide. Just caught that. He's made a big mistake, so not sure what happened there. But that's his chance of a sprint podium gone. Lightning Rifle, as Zanin has come into the pit lane, as 1 second gap from Cash Max. So clearly these two are fighting. Lightning Rifle will get back into P2, but they've got to sort of close that gap back up to have any chance to potentially a move late, or for a move on the last lap, I should say. But these two are getting close together. Batman and Domwell having a nice battle, P6, P7. Batman back down the inside of the McLaren. And this is going to be a interesting battle at the end. Broser, obviously, with the wing damage, he's up into P13 because Ashton's had another moment at the third chicane. So plenty of people going off. Just having a look. So the field sort of spread out just because of mistakes at the moment. But Cam, Cash Bash, this is going to be his sort of last big chance to sort of hold off as King Dogger picks up a 3 seconds. So any chance of points, that's gone for the Ferrari driver. He's not scoring anything, but 7.5 tenths, 8 tenths. I don't think Lightning Rifle will have enough to actually get him here.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, obviously, with battery usage as well in DRS and play. It's not the longest DRS straight on the calendar, but can definitely mean something. But JK Mash is going to keep the lead into turn 1, but it's Oscar Piastri go into turn, sorry, it's 2, 3, and 4 because of the at the start finish straight, but Lenny Russell stays ahead of Oscar Piastri go as he's going to remove his
he
on his
bloody
bumper.
he thought about it. He very much thought about it. But you can see that Loading Rifles has been flashing, so clearly he either he's got barely any ERS, or he's in ERS saving mode. But clearly he had no chance to get Cash Mash. So not sure what the energy recovery is here. I haven't actually done a lot of laps in preparation for tomorrow, so I'm going to be doing a lot of practice on tomorrow before the race. So it might just be that he's burnt a lot of it and unable to save it back. But Cash Mash has got 1 sector left to go. He's done a phenomenal drive. He's kept the guys behind. I thought he might have been in a little bit of trouble with the long DRS, but he's done that well. 2 corners left to go. He rounds it nicely, a little bit of a slide, but it's going to be Cash Mash who wins the Imola Sprint by about just under a second. Loading Rifle gets P2. Oscar Piastri go just behind him, P3. Tyrone picks up points on King Dogger in P5. Drop back as Junkyard jumps into P4. Tyrone still picks up points on King Dogger. Donmore in 6, Batman in 7, and F1 Original Paulie picks up your final sprint point. A-Dog just missing out in P9. Bang in P10, King Dogger down in P11. That soft strategy clearly didn't work because those softs really died out at the end. Parallelzy comes around the final corner. He'll cross the line in P12. Broseph, with that wing damage, with that incident at the second chicane, will come home in P13, just ahead of Ashton. World Eater just closely followed behind them. T7's after his issues with that new front wing as well, and strategy will round out our 17 cars. But Aussie has a big slide through the last chicane. But Cam, great drive from Cash Mash. Haas picking up that sprint victory. Had nice pace here, so we'll see if he can replicate that in normal quality and then the longer race distance as well. But yeah, solid effort from the Haas driver.
Yeah, I know you'll be happy about that. Just quietly, your team picking up extra points for that midfield, not midfield, but like the 3rd place overall constructors fight. So very clean from the front runners. That top 3 and top 5 at the start was beautiful racing to watch. But yeah, it's going to be RV who gained the points on Ferrari. So it's only going to be a 12-point difference for the overall constructors lead going into tier 3 qualifying, main qualifying and main race. So we'll have to see what the Scuderia drivers can do in front of the Tifosi.
Yeah, as we're just scrolling through the results, as I'll quickly get all the warnings, and there was a whole bunch of them that I didn't even get them all. That's how many there were. So yeah, definitely interesting. Obviously, we go back to your normal quali session now. So we go back to a normal race weekend. So very interesting to see how these guys go. So obviously, bit of a breather now. So we'll do quali as normal. So I believe it's 2 softs and a medium available for this session, if I'm not mistaken. So might see a few guys out on the mediums early on, and then we'll see our quick laps at the end. Obviously, pole for the sprint was a 14.8, so you'd imagine maybe a little bit quicker than that. But again, it's just going to be who can set the valid lap times. Still waiting. Obviously, with less tyres available, we might actually see just a little bit of a lonely track. As no, we do have the Worms coming out now. We've got Mercy into the session as well. So we do have a 20 car grid for the proper quali and race session.
Sorry, my mic was muted just before, so I wasn't talking. I was going to say 14.8 is quite quick, especially for sprint quali. Probably not pushing as much. So as Scotty said, we'll see what happens for this main quali, but it'll be Ecopsy to set the first lap time if it's valid.
Bang, I will double check that for you, because not sure. I'll let you know in terms of whether or not you had to serve it in the sprint or the feature. But guys coming out, who did we say was the first one? We've got the Williams. Here's the Williams when we get onto him. Ikoski. So, Cam, while I'm sort of getting that sorted, do you want to take us on a hot lap of Ikoski the Williams around this 4.9 kilometre Imola circuit?
I would love to, Scotty, as he rounds Ravazza. Sorry if I botched any of these names. I'm kind of not Italian, unfortunately. So yeah, he rounds Ravazza the last couple turns before he starts his lap. So he's going through 19. He starts his lap now. He's on the softs compound tyres in through turn 1, which is Motto. Now we're going to see the first chicane of 2, 3, and 4's Variante Tamburello. Flat pretty much through 3 and 4. That was very good from the Williams of E. Kotze. Now what can you do into Variante Villeneuve? Quite good as well. He's absolutely sending it into Tosa. Will he get a good exit? That is the question. Seems to be pretty good. Keeps it in gear 4. Uses a bit of overtake out of it. Now into 8. Now to 9. Piratella. This can be tricky with track limits. Keeps it in into 10. Now 11. Aqua Minerale. One of the trickiest parts of... he's invalidated. It was, as I said, one of the trickiest parts of this track, as he seems to keep pushing. So we'll stay, may as well stay with him into Variante Alta. Another hard chicane. You just got to send the car through there. He is still pushing. So we're going to 16, 17, 18, which is Ravazza. Also easy to invalidate here. Seems to have done it quite well, burning the overtake into 19 just before the track, the start finish lines of 14.7 from Ecotzy. Very quick.
Which was, I think, a tenth quicker than what it was in the sprint quali. Zan puts the lap time in 15.9. Bang, if you can hear me, you can do quali now. It's been said in Discord, but you can do quali. You served your quali in the sprint. So, more than happy for you to do quali as normal. As we've got a few drivers just getting out of the way onto the grass. As Donwall 15.6, next driver across the line. As we've got the... yeah, we got the Haas, and definitely going to keep an eye on these Haas's now, with sort of Cash Mash. Brosum had good pace as well, 16.1 on the mediums. So really unfortunate that he picked up that damage. World Eater goes up the top, so McLaren 1-2 at the moment, 15.4. So as we've got the Alpine around the final corner, but that's an invalidation. Tyrone goes into the top 3. King Dogger is definitely the one that we've got to keep an eye out on. He had a poor quali, and fighting from that far back, he's only got a slim championship lead, so he needs to find a bit of pace. Might not be one of his more favoured tracks, but just got to keep an eye on it. But yeah, needs to do a little bit more. Mercy, first time we've seen him out on track. The guys who do sprint quali and the sprint race can use that as a little bit of practice. So this is going to be his first time in these track conditions. So we'll see how they go. As Cam says, you've spotted one of the drivers' invalidation. It's just a shit track, and that's an invalidation. Or it should be. He went 4 wheels over it, even more, and more than that. So I'm not counting this lap for Mercy, but then again, it was only a 17.2 anyway. So, but that should have been a bloody warning. He was so far off bloody track, he nearly went into the gravel. As there's a lot of bloody cars around that last couple of corners. Got the two Sours. So Ashton had an absolute shocking sprint. Moves himself up into the top 7, but last of the guys that have set a lap time. I'm not going to try and bag my comms buddies, but yeah, clearly they sort of need to be in the box tonight with sort of the way their race went. But then again, they probably would give me shit as he's off the track at the moment. One of the Sours, probably Ashton. We got Aston Martin, T Simmons. Was in that lead group. Had a moment, unfortunately, and damaged his wing on the medium tyres at the moment. And that's all four wheels off. That's an invalidation, and he comes straight into the pit lane. So clearly, turn 18, just people are trying to carry as much speed out of that corner that they're just constantly running wide, and that's stuffing their lap over.
Yeah, it's as we said in the little chat, it's very hard with track limits here. As I'm just riding on board with King Dog, he's gone purple middle sector, so he'll really want us to get a time on. He has just came back from a camp, a 3-day camp, so he's pretty much zilch practice as he's gone off somehow. That isn't invalidation, it's actually needs a 5-pace quick penalty for closing the bang. This looks like an okay lap from Kingy to 15.5.
That's
so
a bit
he's
of lap.
1/100ths off of World ED, splits the McLarens, the Papaya. So in front of the Tifosi, your provisional P2 is your championship leader of King Dogger in the Scuderia.
Yeah, as I'm just saying, Bang did set a lap time there, but I think Ashton might just want to save himself from this feature race. He's having an absolute mare. Again, I'm not trying to pick on him, but it just every time we see an incident, it's sort of unfortunately it's involving both Saubers. So I'll try and lay off the Sauber guys. Obviously, it's just not been their night at the moment. Cash Mash in P8 on the medium tyres, setting that 16.2. So about 6/10 off. No, I can't count. 8/10 off of pole at the moment. Remember, pole was a 14. What did I say? 14.8. 14.8. So we're still about 6-7 tenths off that at the moment with World Eater's time. Cash Mash does come around the final quarter to begin another lap on those medium compounder tyres. We've got Zandon, who's invalidated. We've got the Ferrari of King Dogger, but he's done 3 laps on those softs, so I imagine he's in. But he is. Bang's 2 seconds down, so he'll be into the pits. Got an RB. F1 Original Paulie. Picked up a point in the sprint. Looked good, so we'll see what the RB can do. Good points for RB over Ferrari in the sprint. Obviously, don't take the overall lead in the overall constructors. Lona Roth was invalidated, so this won't be a lap for himself. So we'll go to... Who's that? The Williams boys. So Ikoski crosses the line. Solid lap time, moves himself up into the top 5. Oscar Piestrigo is in pit lane. P7, we have hit the halfway mark of quali. 9 minutes left to go. And how's Mercy going? He found 4/10 as Cash Mash goes 15.4 on the mediums. Thank you. We'll take that. In saying that, we are still 6/10 off. So as he cuts the curb and has touched a little bit of the gravel. That's a solid lap time from Cash Mash. But again, in saying that, we are still 6/10 off what provisional pole was in the sprint. So we think that's probably not taking the piss, but obviously we've still got a lot of time on those soft compounder tyres. And World is invalidated, so it has to come in, so those softs are gone. King Dogger and Don Moore not out on track or about to, or on an out lap. Tyrone are just up on their first sector time, but has a bit of a snap through Tosa off the exit. Right on board with the Alpine. So Tyrone chasing King Dogger down in the championship, but he goes super wide, and that's an invalidation. So just track conditions at the moment. These guys just struggling to get the lap time in, and you can even see through Akram Millerale just having another little snap through. So it's going to be an interesting track, and as I said earlier on in the sprint quality, with the guys these are struggling. T7's 15.2. That's a bit of lap time for the soft compounder tyres. Goes purple. How is that Ferrari crossing the line? That's going to be Batman. And only goes P12 on those soft compounder tyres. So Batman not quite having the 1 lap pace, but with all his assists off, looks like he's got better race pace. So look forward to see what Batman can do. He's got plenty of time to do another soft run.
we saw King Dogger just starting a lap. I think it's a Red Bull and an RB, the two sister teams rounding the final corner. Paulie is on a lap on the softs. Will this be a competitive lap time? 17.3. It's
It's a lap.
definitely not what he
Yeah, it's a
wants.
lap. At least he got a lap in because Aussie invalidated. So, Batman. And yes, I can see your message in the chat, Battle Cat. To be fair, I didn't even see the rulers. Who's off in the gravel? That was an RB. No, that was a Red Bull of strategy. Miles off the track. Broseph has invalidated, but this is his out lap. So I think Brosep's going to be sort of the one that will be on the next run.
Oh.
Actually, no, I'll switch to King Dogger very quickly.
Oh, he's invalidated.
Who?
Kingy.
Oh,
Kingy.
at least he's got a time on the board. He's got a time on the board. Just over, or just under 6 minutes left to go in the session. King Dogger across the line. He dropped a 10th, but he probably turned battery off. That's right. If you Battlecat, if you don't read the rule book and you start getting pens, that'd be very nice. We need Ferrari to have a couple of these shit weekends. So
no, we really don't.
Oh, I think we do. At least Haas is having a really nice weekend. K-Mash is doing a wonderful job. Broseph, obviously out on that lap. We'll join him. Oh, I don't want to anymore because he's invalidated his lap. So I think obviously trying to eke out the last runs on those soft compounded tyres, the drivers are just pushing that little bit too much. The guys will know where their time loss is. They're just pushing those particular corners, and unfortunately, they're just running that little bit wide, and it's costing them the lap altogether. So you've got to sort of take that risk reward there as Paulie's into the pit lane. Broseph, if he invalidated early, will be able to go again, and it looks like he has. And yeah, that's a lap minute 26. So yeah, he's definitely made a mistake earlier on. Ashton is a 10th down on his lap time at the moment through the first sector. So we'll run on board for the rest of the lap. Ooh, and I think he hit the outside curb, did Ashton, and that really mucked his line up through turn 9. Be interesting to see what his second sector line is. Through the second sector, I should say, has found 3/10. Problem is he needs to find half a second to get to the car in front. So that probably easily would have cost him probably 3/10 going through that moment through turn 9. So how does he do the last couple of corners? He might have turned off his battery as well, maybe, but he crossed the line. He did find an extra 10. So 16.9. This might just not be one of Ashton's tracks. Maybe Zandon as well, but at least Zandon's got a 15.8 in him. But as I said, I know a lot of people love him, but I know that a few people do struggle around here. So it does not surprise me that a few of these guys that we may think we might expect to be a little bit higher up aren't. As Broseph does manage to get the lap done, but he's obviously had to turn off his battery. So he'll go for another run. 3 minutes left to go in the session. At the moment, it's T. Simmons and Cashmash, your front row. And Cashmash, I don't think improved. No, sorry, he's on his lap time now. What am I talking about? T. Simmons is the one that's in pit lane. So 2 corners left to go. Speedy through there. Keeps him within track limits. Come on, Haas. Let's get to the top of the timing sheets. He found that little bit of time, but couldn't. He's still a 10th and a half off T7s. And I'm not sure if he's either got another set of softs or... Oh, actually, we won't be able to come in anyway, so... Hopefully he's got the fuel. He'll have to save his battery and go for one last run. Tyrone has invalidated. Not sure if this is his outlap or not, but if he has, that's another mistake. Broseph coming through the last sector time, as I think that was the Aston Martin getting out of the way. As he comes down to the final 2 corners now. As we keep it within track limits, please. He does. So Broseph, can he get anywhere close to his teammate? Crosses the line, jumps into the top 7. Nice work, Broseph. P7, and I think that will be his last probably competitive run, being that he's been on these tyres for 3 laps now. Looking at the tyre wear from the sprint race, those softs really died off on King Dogger's time, so you can't do a hell of a lot of laps. That's an invalidation for Zen, and he's got to be careful if he does that late in the lap, otherwise he'll cost him this and next lap, as we hit a minute 34 left to go in the session. A lot of guys out on track for their out laps. Cam, who are you seeing that's actually on a flyer at the moment?
Tyrone is on a fly, but there's a bajillion cars. He's gone purple middle. He's 2 tenths up on his time, but there's a bajillion cars in that middle sector through Variante Alta and Aqua Minerale.
On board. Yeah, McLaren does get out of the way though, thankfully. And he might get a little bit of a tow coming through the last corner. Tyrone, can he go provisional pole? He most certainly can. 15.145. So the question is, can he keep it? He's only got it by half a tenth of a second. And a lot of guys are going to be out on their final laps. T7 is 2.5 tenths up, nearly 3 tenths up. Keeps it valid through the final corner. T7, can he get into the 14s? Crosses the line, and he does. 14.9, still that 10th off than what we saw in the sprint quali, but a very, very solid lap from T7 as Batman goes into the top 4. Very nice lap from Batman. World Eater in P5, King Dogger in P6. We got the 2 Haas's, and I think they might be giving each other a tow as Broseph, he's not on a lap, but Cash Bash is. He's slightly up. He does improve by 2 tenths, but just can't quite pip Tyrone. Checkered flag is now out. Purple final sector for Cash Bash. So it did help with the tow. We've got the Mercedes of A-Dog. And I don't know how that wasn't a invalidation, but crosses the line and stays 14th. We got one of the Rifle has us in the lap time, goes into the top 4. That was a very, very late effort. Domwell goes into the top 5. Nice effort from him. Junkyard into the top 5 replaces it. So a lot of these guys, as King Dogger has invalidated, so he is done. He's starting 9th at the very best. Here we got next Ecosti P12 Oscar. Surely he's got a bit of time, but no, he's invalidated. So our podium getter in the sprint is starting 13th. He had a shocking lap for some reason. Bang, he's done. Broseph will be done. He got the pole, the tow. I think that is going to be it. So T7 gets the lap time done, and I think we saw this in a couple of tiers that the sprint quali was actually a faster time than what the feature quali was, and that's happened again. T7 does it, only driving the 14s. Tyrone will join him on the front row. Cash Mash and Loading Rifle. So it's the same. It's sort of the same drivers in that sort of top group, but different order. And it's going to be T7's. He'll try and get the run down into turn number 1, but it is a long run down to all that turn 2, 3, 4 chicane, and it's going to be a tough ask. Just needs to work on the start, but Aston Martin takes the feature race pole. That was a solid effort as well. Batman, King Dogger, P7, P9, RB, Loading Rifle, P4, and F1 Original Paulie down in 18th. But again, 32 laps, 3 times as long. There will be a compulsory pit stop. Obviously, we did see a safety car in the sprints, but they don't like to give safety cars out in the sprint, so we may see a few more in the feature.
Yeah, as I can't remember where Ashton started, but he does have a 5-place grid penalty, so he'll be dropping some spots unless he'll be starting last. So it'll be Paulie, Bang, and Facile Strategy who gain position. But yeah, it's actually very good from Batman. His first league race with no assists, as Scotty said before, just dropping off ABS, and he'll be starting P7 in front of the Tifosi, but it's T-Summons, the only man in the 14s. He was on pole by 2 tenths of a second. Very good lap, but just interesting from Loading Rifle. He only did 1 lap, and that was at the very end, and did a 15.2. So if he had invalidated, he would have been starting at the back of the grid.
Yeah, plumb last, and remember he's in this championship fight as well, so he could not afford to make a mistake like that. So he got, I won't say lucky because he put in a solid lap time, but as I said, with how many invalidations and how many warnings we've seen so far tonight, could have been very, very costly mistake. Yes, Buster, I will get the tyres as soon as we get underway. Obviously, be very interesting to see what your driver does, or what both your drivers do. Both your drivers in a very nice position, right up there inside the top 10. Obviously, we saw the soft tyres not quite be this higher for the sprint, so you won't get a lot of lap times in there. We'll see how the hards actually work on this track. But it's going to be T. Simmons, Tyrone, our front row, who gets the better start in the turn 2 corner first. It should be your medium hard strat, but we do have the lights on now. The feature race here at Imola for Tier 3 is underway, and it was the good start from T7s, but Tyrone's going with him. As he'll have the outside line, we get a cleaner start than what we did in the sprint, and T7s get the corner all to his own. Do we make it through? I think one of the Haas's in the background had to take avoiding action, go onto the grass. But T7's Tyrone's loading rifle has jumped Mash. Junkyard Dog Batman, as we've got the two McLarens close by each other. World Eater up into the top 7 as T7's actually loses a position to Tyrone, so must have had a moment off the second chicane. So Tyrone will lead this race. Tyres, a lot of the guys on the medium tyres. Oscar Piastri Goat, who was well down on his quality position, or his starting position on the hards. He's going to go long into this one, along with King Dog, our championship leader. And he's going to have to try something different because his championship rivals are currently P1 and P3. But the pack of 3 just breaking away a little bit from Cashmash, who won our sprint race, remember, but we are facing all 20 cars still facing the right direction, thankfully. So no incidents on this opening lap, and I can see no one from the look of it has got front wing damage either. As Ikoski, I say that, we go side by side. Don't really see side by side through the final 2 corners. Tyrone sets the fastest lap. So plenty of action happening in this mid-pack, and it's actually sort of broken the pack up into 2 separate groups as we get the aerial shot from, or the long shot from turn 2. And it's going to be Ikoski, Oscar Piastri Goat. Zandon's losing a bunch of position. I think that was an RB or the Ferrari. No, Ferrari got shuffled out. King Dogger down to P15, and he's got the Aston Martin on the inside. Oh, it's bit of carnage, his contact, and that's an Aston around. Mercedes into the wall.
That's A-Dog.
That's A-Dog. And strategy, Bang was involved in that as well. King Dogger is in the part of the field he does not want to be. Thankfully, he's got his front wing, but absolute chaos in his group. We're back up to the front at the moment because it's very close. Junkyard Dog trying to go around the outside of Cashmash. You don't see that, but it forces the Haas to go wide. Cashmash really struggling on this restart, and Junkyard Dog looks to have a bit better pace and should have the DRS and the move done at turn 2 very easily, but we'll head up to the top 2 because it's going to be Tyrone versus T7s as we start lap 3.
Yeah, King Dog obviously was in quite a lot of positions as loading rifle sits fastest. What will T7s do into 2, 3, and 4? The first chicane of the track, he takes the lead. Will Tyrone give it to him easily? He does. Not much of a fight as J.K. Mash is fighting with Junkyard Dog into that first little chicane, but it's the top 3 just pulling away from the Haas in P4, and I think by the way this is going, Visa are going to be getting quite a bit of points on Ferrari, but Batman doing very well in P6. He had a huge quali session, so it's very good from him, but it is T. Summons, your pole sitter, who leads halfway through lap 3 as Dano, also known as Mercy, gets a 3 seconds. So that's your second 3 second of the night here in this actual race, and we'll see what happens into Ravazza, who will have the lead down the DRS start finish straight. It's not too powerful, but you could see the likes of Tyrone and Rifle making some moves on T Summons, who has gotten the better exit. That is the question into 19. It's lap 4. T Salmons goes fastest lap with 17.690, but it's Tyrone down the inside before Variante Tamburello. He gets the move done and gets it done quite comfortably. So Tyrone takes back the lead of this race.
Yeah, and you can see we saw at the end there that Junkyard Dog getting past Cash Mash, as unfortunately strategy is out of this one. He's decided to pick quit, so one Red Bull is gone. So it's only got to be IRL Aussie scoring points for Red Bull, the senior team. But we'll see. We'll see if Cashback can just sort of stick with Junkyard Dog, just sort of with the pace that Junkyard's got at the moment, and try and just latch himself back onto the top three. Reminder that something that we sort of did mention in the feature quali, that these guys were able to change their setups from the sprint race to the quali. So if they didn't like their setups in one way or the other, they could change it. So be interested to see if some guys have added a little bit more downforce, some guys have taken off a bit of wing. Because, as I said, Loading Rifle obviously sort of struggled to get past Cash Mash. So I'm just wondering if there's a bit of lower wing, but it's going to be T7s who... These guys, I don't think are going to fight too hard. Obviously, 3 times the length of this race, so I don't think they're really going to have to force the issue. As I said, don't really want to cost each other a lot of time, and that's a simple move from T7s to retakes the lead. So that's all they sort of need to do at the moment. Junkyard is very close to bringing him back within DRS range, and Cash Mash is staying with him. Batman has got World Eater, so Batman's pretty much had a McLaren, always World Eater. I say that he picks up a 3-second time penalty. I think he cut the first part of the chicane, but he had a nice run through Tosa, but he won't quite have the speed there. As we got a yellow flag, we've had a moment at Tosa. And that is Paralozzi, who's on the grass. He's recovered. Doesn't have any wing damage from the look of it, but clearly having maybe a bit of a moment on the entry.
Yeah, well, the sprint race wasn't the cleanest cleanest race that we have ever seen here at Inters. But yeah, and I'm just quickly looking now. Your current provisional championship leader for Tier 3 is Tyrone. He's 16 behind King Dogger right now, and he's currently sitting in P2. But is there a move on Batman? Can World Eater get the move? He does. Batman loses quite a lot of position. He loses 2 positions to Piastri and World Eater, so he's down into P8. But it seems like this top 3 fight has now become a top 5 fight for this lead, as it's Tyrone who got the move into Variante Tamburello, the first chicane, turn 2, 3, and 4. So it's an Alpine 1-4. So I know Buster in the chat is going to be loving life right now. But more importantly, it's an Alpine that provisionally leads the driver's standings here in turn 3, Tier 3, as they go through Aqua Minerale. It's still Tyrone, and can we see Oscar Piastri go, one of your podium season sprint? Can he start to gain on those hards to get in the DRS range? It'll be a very close fight.
I think
Sorry, you guys.
I was just going to say, I think he will, because clearly the hard's a nice tyre, but obviously the one thing he does not want is a safety car in about 5 laps time, because I have a feeling these medium tyres will not feel great after about 12, 13 laps. So he does set the fastest lap, 17.2. Tyrone remains in the lead. Batman moves back up ahead of World Eater for P7. Mercy makes a move from Broseph down the inside, and King Dogger still in 14th. He's on the hard tyres, but he has not had the movement of what Oscar has, and he's stuck in this battle. And hopefully he can get a bit of clean air once these medium runners box, but he's just not having the night from the Ferrari driver. It's a little bit of lag on my end. But, actually Oscar sets past the lap, but then he's just dropped 4 tenths, so he must have made a little bit of a mistake somewhere. So it'd be interesting. The hard tyres should be coming to these guys very shortly. these medium tyres should start getting to that first cut-off point, or the first wear point very shortly, but obviously he just needs to start chipping in that gap. He's got clear air behind. I say that, but we'll either sense a move down at turn 17. You don't usually see a move down there. Batman must have had a poor exit off the chicane. And that's a move done for the McLaren driver. Does T. Simmons take the race lead back? He does, has the inside line. And Tyrone has to slip in behind. Tyrone's got to be a little bit careful that, yes, he allows the Aston pass, but doesn't allow the RB pass. And you can see it is very close as that second out Peen got very, very close. Junkyard Dog, if he didn't have that moment in the sprint, he's got a lot of pace around here, so definitely don't count him out. Ashton picks up his second 3-second time penalty. He's having a bit of a moment there.
Oh, it's Williams off and a kick.
Oh, yes.
Zanin gets a 10-second with Ecoxy. It's him, Zen and Ecoxy having a bit of a moment near Tozer.
Yeah, and clearly he's sort of obviously contact between the two, or one spun in front of the other, but yeah, contact between those guys. Oh, as King Dogger picks up a 3-second time penalty as well. He is struggling out as Ashton has crashed out.
Yes, VSC.
VSC, these guys are around the final couple of corners. If you have you got your hard tyre selected, you come in and box now. I know that the medium tyres were, I think, your box lap 14, you have to come in now. Problem is, if Junkyard comes in, no, Junkyard has to stay out. Obviously, being so close to his teammate, he couldn't afford to double stack, but Loading Rifle's chosen to stay out. Junkyard Dog has. Oscar obviously has to because he's on the hards. But that VSC will definitely help. You should easily get this pit stop served and back out before it ends. Just got to be careful about exiting this pit lane, because we've seen the VSC end when people are exiting the pits and can easily pick up drive-throughs, but you can see how many guys boxed. Only the top 6 stayed out. But Ashton having unfortunately, it was not his night, and I think had a moment at turn 9. So unfortunately we've lost our second driver, Ashton. So once Albert gone, Zanin left. Darius now enabled. No one picked up a drive-through, thankfully. Oh, I say that, we've got a yellow flag somewhere here. I think we're all good. Not sure if it was Dom or Broseph or something like that, but we're sorted now. But Loading Rifle, 8/10 gap over Junkyard Dog, Oscar, Piastri Goat in P3. Mercy King Dog, obviously both those guys having to stay out on the hard tyres. F1 Original Paulie, he has stayed out as well. So obviously both RBs staying out. So not sure obviously if they're in a chat together or not, but obviously wanting to take those meetings a little bit longer. Yellow flag, that's the other Sauber of Zed, and so probably went off track. World Eater and another driver picking up 3-second time penalties. As we head back up to the front, Loading Rifle Junkyard, Oscar. Oscar should have better pace at the moment. King Dogger, we'll see what King Dogger can do now. He's got a bit of clear air. Obviously, he'll lose time with the guys pitting under the VSC. But we'll see in a bit of clear air with Mercy on the same lap old hard compounded tyres. We'll see what King Dogger can do in a bit of clear air, shall we? And not stuck in a bit of a train. So we'll keep an eye on that. While we watch T. Simmons and Tyrone. These guys just got to be careful that they don't fight too much to allow the guys who are going to do a massive overcut to get the advantage. Gap at the front is 24 seconds, and I think it's a pretty long pit lane here, if I'm not mistaken, but 24 seconds at the moment from T. Simmons to Loading Rifle. So we'll keep an eye on that when the medium should be in about 4 laps time.
Is one of the longest pit lanes on this calendar, I think.
As I say that, T. Simmons, and I was on board, or I was following him through, and that's Akra Millerale that he picked it up there. Very easy to do, and that's going to sort of ruin T. Simmons' chances, but again, plenty of time left as we go side by side between Loading Rifle and Oscar Piastri Goat. Oscar Piastri Goat trying to find his way through as well, but couldn't quite do that, so he has to slot back in P3, but Junkyard Dog has got a bit of pace as King Dogger, and that's car in the background, that's Mercy. sideways coming through turn 4. Thankfully, avoids the cars behind, or avoids, I think, F1 original Paulie. So very, very close to contact. Tyrone's got past T7, so Tyrone is the lead car that has made their compulsory pit stop. And we're looking at about, again, 23-second gap between himself and Junkyard Dog. But again, these two groups cannot fight amongst each other, otherwise they'll just lose time to the other group. But we'll wait and see. Oscar should have the better pace, but he's third in line, so we'll wait and see what he can do with the two in front.
Yeah, and it's gonna be interesting as we see King Dog is not really gaining as much time as he'd like to, as Junkyard Dog is the first to bite the bullet on the medium compound tyre, so he pits for a new set of hard compound tyres. We'll have to see where he comes out and the controller vibrates, but it seems like he's gonna come out in provisional. Oh, it's gonna be close. Oh, it's a long pit lane at the end. Yep.
Yeah,
Very long at the end.
He's gonna be miles behind. Problem is he was screwed out of the way because he was so close behind Tyrone. That double stack would have absolutely cost him, so he had to stay out. He would have wanted another VSC or a full safety car to sort of help that, but yeah, being that it is so long, how far off is he? 4 seconds. So
4 seconds.
It was damned if he do, damned if he doesn't. So, but again, he didn't have a choice. He had to stay out. Loading Rifle did have a choice. He decides he wants to extend these mediums. Maybe gives himself a little bit more grip on the hard compounded tyres. But Oscar's obviously gotten past. So Oscar, 11 lap old hards, should be better paced than Loading Rifle. So it's going to be interesting to see. As we got
It's
Zandon,
sorry.
and he's, I don't know how he's done that, but he's miles off. He's got to be a little bit careful that he doesn't get disqualified. And he'll try and correct himself back up. But Oscar's now broken out of DRS from Loading Rifle behind. The hards will be the better tyre at this stage. As I said, I think, Tyrone, we're going to go 3 wide nearly as Cash Bash and T7 side by side. Do we keep it clean? We most certainly do. I was worried for a second there. But T7's Cash Bash and Tyrone, these guys having a great scrap. I was going to say before we saw that battle, Oscar still needs this to stay green for another 5 laps. Just so he can make sure those mediums get home, because Zandon picks up a penalty. So they must be hitting that. Yeah, and they're clearly hitting that curve or down there and having a big spin. Thankfully, again, they missed the wall. But yeah, Oscar does not need a safety car at this point, and you can just see how much pace he's got. As Zandon speeds in pit lane, I think this might be a pit and quit. He might keep going. No, he's done.
Yeah. Double DNF for the kick, so Parzival kick team principal will not be thrilled with the performance from the kicks tonight.
If you want to see how bad of a weekend that you can have as a sort of a driver pairing, unfortunately tonight was the night as Cash Mash gets past T7s. I don't know if this track just didn't suit those two boys. Obviously. They're still trying to find their way. Obviously, Zandon turning off some assists. Obviously, having a lot of practice with Reese with his training program, and I think Ashton's a little bit as well. So they're still learning, obviously, and they're still getting used to the game. Even though we are some months through, they're still learning, and unfortunately, just Imola has not clicked with those two boys. Unfortunately, so as we obviously wish them well next time at Baku, even though Baku can be a bit of a shit fight no matter how good you are at it. But yeah, it's unfortunately it's just not the night for them. So hopefully they can go back to a bit of a refresh and they'll be able to come back bigger and better next time out. But yellow flag, who's off now? I think that might be.
Off again. So the same spot he was last time.
So you've definitely got some drivers struggling at certain corners most of the time. As Loading Rifle boxes, lap 14 on
Oh,
the...
they both pit at the same time. The others pit at the same time.
He might be right, as Cash Mash does set the fastest lap. This is going to be what these hard runners have to do. They need to get themselves a big enough gap so when Oscar goes onto the medium tyres, that there's a big enough gap. As we got World Eater and Junkyard. Junkyard has the inside line. There's going to be contact. The McLaren goes for a little bit of a half spin. Thankfully saves it, and Junkyard holds P7. But again, he hasn't been able to close up to Tyrone and T7s. He's still got that 4.3 second gap. Just not quite got the pace at the moment. Or he's got the pace, he can't eat into that pace of how good those guys are going. As Tyrone's actually dropped off the back of T7s actually, so both Alpines not quite having the pace as they did in the first stint, and it's going to be Cash Mash and T7s who are going to fight thick and fast. Gap to the leader is 21 seconds as someone's gone off at the first chicane. I think that was the Wooms, one of the Wooms again. But it's getting close, Cam, in terms of sort of...
Oh, it Cotsy's off the same spot again. Sorry to be off there, but he's off the exact same spot 3 laps in a row.
Thankfully, the wall's far enough
Sorry, what were
away.
you going to say, Scotty?
I was just going to say, thankfully, the wall's far enough away. But they get a safety car here will help Oscar. Oh, Oscar, as T7 goes onto the grass, that's a 3-second time penalty. He was ballsy doing that. I don't think it will get that rewarding removed. He chose to stick it down the inside. And that's 6 seconds now. Penalties on screen. Top 4 having penalties, so Cash Mash still in a prime position to have a really, really good result. Try and even step on the top step of the podium. As Ikosi, you can see, picks up another 3 seconds. He's up to 12. And you can see some drivers really struggling as Beng is onto the gravel. And again, it's that second chicane. Again, avoids the wall, but another driver off. As Tyrone picks up a penalty. So these leading contenders who we think are fighting for the podium, they're just now picking up the penalties. Obviously 3 times the race distance length that we saw in the sprint. We saw a lot of penalties in the sprint as well, so that's something we're definitely going to have to keep an eye on when we get to the final 10 laps, especially if we somehow get a late safety car.
Yeah, it's, as we said before, again, penalties come usually the players. He caught the off the exact same spot now 4 laps in a row. He's having a mare through that section, but
I think he hit the wall that time too.
That's not ideal for me, Cotsy.
So at least one, as Loaded Rifle picked up a penalty now. Someone else did as well. I don't know if that was Mercy or somebody else, but someone picked up a 3-second penalty. So it's now Cash Mash, the only driver in the top 6. And I think Cash Mash just needs to follow T7s. He just has to follow the Aston Martin. He doesn't need to pass him. Just follow him. Start eating into that Oscar Piastri bloody time. Leader, there's 20 seconds off of the race lead. And I think looking at, I think it's about 28 seconds. So Oscar will have about an 8-9 second gap at the moment to chase down. But he could be in at the end of this current lap 18 to 32. He might be in now. He might be in this lap, 14 laps on the medium tyres. We'll keep an eye on that. Junkyard now picks up a penalty, so only 2 drivers in the top 9. Donmore, if there's a late safety car, could be in an absolutely brute position as Ikosi comes in for a set of sock compounded tyres as our championship leader picks up another penalty. I think he's up to 6 as well as Loaded Rifle gets past World Eater. So moves himself up into the top 8. So I don't know how many warnings Cash Mash has. He's moved ahead of T7s now, just obviously with the DRS down that start-finish straight. But yeah, it's getting close. King Dogger obviously yet to stop. He's running in P2. Top 3 have yet to stop. Only 3 left to make their pit stop. Obviously all starting on the hard compounded tyres. We should see them in the next lap or 2. And Battlecat's right. Anyone keeping it clean will pray for that safety car.
Oh, he's off again.
And Oscar Piastri goes in. So what is the gap to our leading pack, Cash Mash, T7's Tyrone? Just going to keep an eye on King. As I said, 28 seconds, and the gap's about 19 seconds. King Dogger goes around once again, but Oscar will be on the medium tyres. They'll warm up slightly quicker, and he'll be rapid. And with the field spread at the moment, he'll be right. Loading Rifle sets the fastest lap time, 17.2. He's got to be clear in out. So Oscar is going to have to pass about 4 cars for this victory. 5 cars now. Oh, as Loading Rifle bet him out. I'm still looking at the bloody pit lane, but Loading Rifle, that's an important pass. Oscar needs to get this move done this lap to close in. He's 11 seconds off the leaders. So about 9 seconds off the Cash Mash. And he's got a penalty that he's got to deal with as well. So, yeah, I'd rather not a safety car. King Dogger can go into the pits now and feed himself. He can feed himself back down the field. We don't need Ferrari getting a ton of points.
Yes, we do.
But always T7's a Cash Mash. These guys have just got to be careful. They can't afford to pass it sort of inopportune corners. They want to lose a ton of time. As King Dogger is now in, so Mercy's going to be the lone car, and I feel like Mercy will try and hang out for a safety car. He'll try and go super long on those hard compounded tyres.
He pits.
As
he has pitted onto the meds.
Yep, so Cash Mash gets past, and Oscar gets past. Yeah, he was 14 seconds behind Oscar Piastri before he made his pit stop. So you can see he's going to tumble down this field. He's going to come out in 14th, but he's going to have 11 laps fresher medium tyres compared to those hard. So he should romp through this field. As Koski has retired, thankfully, in pit lane, so he will remain green flag. So down to 16. Remember, top 15 scores points. So A-Dog, the only one at the moment unable to score a point. But we'll keep that in mind for later on. Fastest lap, as we saw, Loading Rifle, he gets the bonus point at the moment, P7. But I want to keep an eye on this Oscar Junkyard battle. And you can just see Junkyard goes a little bit deep at turn 17, but you can just see how much more traction Oscar Piastri has. And this should be a very easy move, as he does set the fastest lap, 16.8. And that's going to be very hard to beat. You feel like it's only going to be a late stop onto the softs, or it's going to be King Dogger that does beat that. But Oscar's been in fine form in terms of pace. And he's now only 4.7 seconds off this race lead. But again, those memes will go off quite quickly.
Yeah, and Jay Cashmash, he's provisionally in the lead and he doesn't have a pen, so pretty much he's 3.4 seconds in the lead here, trailing Dunno, who has to put again.
Yeah,
so
this
is gaining a lot of points for us.
Yeah, but this is going to hurt the guys behind, as we're going to...
Bang and...
Yeah, I think he saved it. We can see the top 7 in that one shot. It is actually quite close, but again, you can see all the black and white flags, penalties. 6 seconds for Mercy, but he's still got to stop. Does he come in finally? Yes, he does. So it's Cash Mash clear. T7's with 6, Tyrone with 3, Oscar Piastri, who sets the fastest lap once again with 3, Junkyard with 3, but Oscar going around the outside of Tyrone. That was just too easy. He's just got so much more grip off the last corner. And now he's in the battle for the top 3. So he's got to pass and then get the 3-second gap, at least on Cash Mash, which will be possible. He's actually closing a lot quicker than what I thought he did. So it's that hard meeting. Looks like a good strategy. Problem is, you can't afford a safety car in inopportune times. So it's working out for him now. and it will not be too far. T7's up to 9 seconds, so he definitely won't be on the podium, unfortunately. He's really struggling. So he's cut the track 9 times. But he's still hanging right in there with Cash Mash. But they're going to have a worms on their ass very, very shortly. Oh, not anymore.
Yes.
Not anymore. He may still actually have the. He still may actually have the pace. Because I think these hards are getting to their first sort of wear rate. Oh, and that got very close again. T7's likes the inside line there, but again he was half on the grass.
Yeah, so pretty much handing the lead to Jay Cashmas now.
Yeah, problem is Oscar's flying on those medium tyres. So yes, he's got the 6 seconds, but he might be able to break 6 seconds, but he needs to get these passes done now. If he can clear both these guys in the next 2 to 3 laps, he can push for the last 6, and he may be able to stretch that gap out. As Cash Bash now picks up the 3 second. I think he followed T7's line because it looked like T7's was all 4 wheels off the track as well. So Cash Bash at least is still in the better position, but you can see this field really closing up. The top 6, Loading Rifle and Junkyard Dog, are certainly not out of this, especially if these guys pick up more penalties. As Cash Bash already losing the position to Oscar, and Oscar will have a free bit of DRS on T7, so I think Oscar is looking right for a P1 at the end of the start-finish straight, lap 24. We still got 8 laps left. There's a yellow flag. That's Broseph around at the chicane. He's had a moment, but Oscar takes the race lead. Now he has to push. He now only needs a 3 second gap to T7's. Sorry, not T7's, to Cash Mash. And I think with those medium tyres, he will easily be able to do that. So this has absolutely worked out for him here. Tyres, you can see everybody on old hards. Loading Rifle's got 6 laps younger hard tyres, so don't count out Loading Rifle. He's got the better tyres at the moment. All the other guys are on 10 lap older tyres than Oscar as well, as he's already broken the 1 second. So I have a feeling unless those mediums really drop at the end, I think this is going to be Oscar's race win unless he picks up another penalty.
He's already got a gap. He's already got a second gap.
Yeah, he's got so much more grip than the hard runners. He's not sharing his data, so I can't tell his tyre percentage as well, so, which is annoying me, because it'd be interesting to know how he's going. But I can see King
just quietly. I was about to say Kingdom's flying.
Yeah, so clearly the hard medium working really, really nicely. I think if it was a straightforward medium hard strategy, that'd be a little bit better. But because the medium runners had to box so early, only on lap 8, they're really struggling with their hard compounded tyres now. As Cash Mash and T7 still fighting side by side, Cash Mash getting the position done. But the more these guys fight, the easier it is for Oscar to get away. And that gap, 1.6 seconds. It only needs to be a 3 second gap. And as you can see, Loading Rifle and Tyrone is now on the back of this pack as well within DRS. Junkyard Dog as well. And I think Loading Rifle's got past Junkyard Dog in the last lap and a half. So watch out for Loading Rifle. 6 laps younger tyres. And we're going to keep it on the penalties page for you, because this is going to be a big factor in terms of who wins this race and who finishes on the podium.
Yeah, it's the whole top 7, nearly the whole top 11 have pens. Only 3 drivers don't have penalties. Clearly, Batman and Domwa, so they'll gain some positions, maybe not poorly again. As it's Bang has gone off at turn. I
just
don't
a spin.
have my track number.
Of the second chicane, but just a spin. So remain green flag. But Oscar's 2.4 seconds in front. Still 7 laps left to go. He can just he just needs to manage these tyres, and he should be right. As Cash Mash has to defend going into the first chicane, he's able to take the racing line. This pack of 4 are getting very, very close, and hopefully nothing happens between these guys. It's going to be a fascinating fight at the end. T7 is sort of the one probably in the worst spot with 9 seconds worth of penalty. Loading Rifle with 6 as well, so it's going to be Tyrone and Cash Mash at the moment on the podium. It's just depending on which order, but Cash Mash is nearly outside the 3 seconds as King Dogger picks up another 3 second. He's making good ground, but he's got 9 seconds worth of penalties, and Batman and Paulie are still quite close to him as well. So King Dogger might be outside the top 10 at this rate, but Mercy's got 6 and Paralozzi's got 18 seconds. So we're not going to really know how this goes until everybody sort of crosses the start-finish line. As T7's, I think, has had a bit of a moment. That gap's now 9/10 of a second. So Cash Mash got a little bit of breathing room. We'll see if he can sort of keep pace with those medium tyres, which are now on 8 laps, which I think was at the point where the guys sort of did start struggling. So we'll keep an eye on that. 2.6 seconds. As Don Moore, he was looking good.
Top 11 now.
If there was a slate safety car, he was in a prime position, but he's picked up 3. But again, if there is one, he'll still move up a lot of spots. But currently he's 15 seconds. He's 1.2 behind his teammate, but then 15 seconds behind the next group as King Dogger loses position to Mercy. So Mercy got a bit more speed on those medium tyres. He extended another couple of laps, and maybe those mediums feeling a little bit better on his car as Cash Mash is actually taken a 10th out of Oscar's time. So I'm just wondering if Oscar's hit that first sort of cliff and just starting to struggle. But again, maybe he's got to be careful about warnings as well. As Loading Rifle gets past Tyrone around the outside of the chicane. Getting close between the two Alpines. So Loading Rifle as Tyrone picks up another penalty. That's 6 seconds, so that takes him out. He's now going to have to repass Loading Rifle if he wants to get on the podium. So Cash Mash outside 1 second as well of T7s, who's outside 1 second of Loading Rifle. So this is getting very intriguing. 2.3 seconds now, so is Oscar starting to struggle with those medium tyres? As well as the 3 seconds, and it's helping that Cash Mash doesn't have to worry about T7's behind. Gap 2.4 seconds. We've got 5 laps remaining. Thank you everyone for joining us for our first sprint event of the weekend for Tier 3 Inters. We saw Cash Mash win the sprint. T7's from feature pole, currently in P3, but with the most pins of the top 5. And it's Oscar Piastri, GOAT, on the alternate strategy. 10 laps younger medium tyres. Oh, and he has a moment out of Acromillerale. And he does lose about a 10th of a second to Cash Mash. Oh, this is going to get exciting. Cam, who are we thinking for the victory? It's getting close between those two as T7's. Any chance of a podium is now gone. He's got 12, and that's going to shuffle him back to P6 as Aussie picks up more penalties. Aussie's about to get disqualified if he's not careful. 24 seconds worth of penalties. So, sorry, go.
So you go. I was just going to say, I've got some info that I'm not going to share, obviously, but it could very much impact this race, so I will just keep it a secret until the end. So I don't really want to give teams an advantage or anything, but right now it does look like that Oscar Piastri and Jay Cashmash are going to be near the barrier of 3 seconds, but will Piastri or Cashmash get a pen? That'll be the real difference in this race to decide really who wins this race.
It's going to be close, but I think Cash Mash is sealed for P2 at the very least because T7's is gone. Oh, we've got Aussie's off as Loading Rifle now picks up another penalty. He's got 9. Junkyard Dog might be finding himself on the podium as well. We thought it might have been the other Alpine of Tyrone on the podium, but Junkyard might actually, he's kept it cleaner than the others. He might find himself on the podium at this rate, as if he keeps himself there, as Cash Mash has dropped outside 3 seconds. So Oscar Piastri, he's got 3 laps left. Can he maintain this gap? Those medium tyres will be getting worse and worse, but those hard tyres aren't looking much better anyway, as Loading Rifle needs to get past T7. He needs to start chasing down Cash Mash and getting that bit of a gap to Junkyard to have any chance. Oh, and that's getting close. as T7 has to fall in line. And yes, I've seen your message, Cam, because I've just realised it as well on my little database thing, so I'm not going to say anything. But Cash Mash is now 3.7 seconds, and I think if you're sort of smart, you'll know you know why he might have just dropped off a lot of pace, because Loading Rifle is now 9/10 away.
It's definitely going to be interesting to end this race. Loading Rifle, obviously, 2-1-0 chance of getting a podium tonight with the suspended before he gets the 3-second penalty in his first. So only Batman, the only one to not have a penalty tonight, and if he keeps it within 2 seconds, he could be gaining position on his teammate of King Dog and the current championship leader. But
At the
I don't think he's going to keep it at the end.
Yeah, at the moment I think he's going to jump 2 spots, but I think it's going to be Loading Rifle that gets P2 at the moment. But you can see he's got absolutely no battery, as right on board with the RB, as the Haas driver goes to the outside line.
Oh no, Batman, I've jinxed him.
And he's in the wall. He's got 18 seconds to bang. He'll be able to re-jump Aussie. He's better off just staying out now, as Mercy and Dunno. Mercy's around. I saw that coming from a mile away. Mercy spins. So it's happening in these last couple of laps. As it is 3.9 seconds between Oscar and Loading Rifle. And Cash Mash. He's currently in P3, but Junkyard is right behind him. We've got 2 laps remaining.
Again, the last lap. Gastry is running away with this lead as we're about to cross the start-finish line for the last lap, and I'll let Scotty take it away for the battle for the podium spots.
At the moment, Loaded Rifle's not going to finish on the podium. It's going to be Cash Mash and Junkyard Dog. It's going to be depending on which order Cash Mash goes around the outside. He gets the job done before we hit turn 2. So we can pretty much sort of say it's fuel for Cash Mash on this final lap. Has he done enough to save? That's sort of why he dropped off. I think he would have had better speed at the moment, but he's had to save fuel. We've remained green. We've only had a very short VSC period in which a lot of the guys were in pit lane when that was out, so he wouldn't have been able to save much fuel. So Oscar should look for the victory. He's got a second to play with. He just needs to keep it on track. He does just that. It'll be a fantastic victory. Poor qualifying. I think he started in P13. He's got 1 sector left to go. Easily within track limits as he gets close between 2nd, 3rd and 4th, and Junkyard picks up a 3-second time penalty, but I don't think that will change his position from P3 unless his teammate passes him back. But around the second last corner, it'll be the kink left, but it's got to be Oscar Piastri Goat. He'll cross the line. He'll be your Imola feature race winner. Cash Mash will cross the line in P2. He does make it home just with enough fuel in P2. Junkyard in P3 rounds out our podium. It's going to be an Alpine 3-4 Tyrone in P4. Loading Rifle finishes 5th after the more penalties. T7's obviously dropped back because he, I think, had 12 seconds in the end. World Eater at the moment is 7th, but he had 15 seconds worth of penalties, so we'll wait and see these guys shuffle around. So it's going to be Dunmore in P7. Mercy in 8th. King Dogger, a solid recovery drive from King Dogger. P9. Still some solid points on the board. World Eater finishes in 10th. F1 Aboriginal Paulie finishes 11th. Parallel Aussie will finish 12th, but will drop at least behind Batman and probably Broseph. And I think Bang with his 15 seconds will be too far behind. So Batman does jump to 12th. Broseph does jump to 13th. Aussie will finish 14th, Bang in 15th. And A-Dog, unfortunately, will be the only driver that does not score a point. But I think he picked up a little bit of damage early on. But, yeah, fantastic race. Very close at the end. And unfortunately, I think a bit of a fuel issue for the Haas driver may have cost him any chance, but again, a lot of penalties that did dictate the outcome of this race. Oscar Piastri gets the game's driver of the day, and that alt strategy worked out very nicely for themselves. And as you can see, on the top step of the podium, fantastic drive. Gets the fastest lap point as well, so that's max points from the feature race. And I believe P3, P2, P3 from the sprint, so that's nearly maximum points from the Williams driver. As we see the Haas and the Alpine driver as well. Solid effort from Junkyard. Solid effort from Junkyard Dog as well. So, Junkyard, you're in here now. We want to have a bit of a chat to you in a minute. We'll get through these results first, but solid effort from the top group. We'll go to our race results now. So everybody picking up pens except for Batman. Oscar Piastri go P1, K-Mash in P2, Junkyard in P3, Tyrone in 4th, Loading Rifle in 5th, T7 in 6th, P7 was Dom War, P8 was Mercy, King Dogger, World Eater, F1 Original Paulie, Batman, Broseph, Parallel Aussie, Bang, A-Dog were your finishers, and then Ekoski, Zandon, Ashton, and Strategy were your DNFs from this one. So, I don't think I'll be able to get all the race director because there's a whole bunch of them. So we'll scroll down. Hopefully someone else has got the proper race director if anyone needs penalty removals, which would not surprise me if we do get a few of them. But it was a solid race. We will switch back to our filler screen and we'll wait for our drivers. I think we've got a few of the guys in, just waiting for our race winner. So we'll start with our third place getter from that one, Junkyard. Fantastic pace from yourself tonight. Little moment in the sprint that maybe cost you a sprint podium, but you kept it cleaner than the other guys around you, and you finished in P3. Well done.
Yeah, thanks, mate. I knew I had some good pace around here and just had to try and keep it clean. It was good.
Yeah, you look strong in definitely in the race trim. Obviously, I guess the one thing that did hurt you in that one, obviously, the VSC, when you're right behind your teammate, obviously you couldn't double stack, so you had to stay out. Sort of how much did that actually hurt you in terms of sort of time loss? Were you sort of pushing a little bit more and then picking up those warnings, or just you managed to recover that at least to catch the back of that pack?
Yeah, that's where I got the warnings. I was trying to catch up. I thought that stuffed me race right up, but anyway, I was lucky. Just tried to keep it clean, and she worked out all right.
And obviously solid effort from Alpine as well. P3, P4 for you guys. Obviously Tyrone picks up points on King Dogger for at least the Drivers' Championship. But for yourself, yeah, for Alpine and obviously yourself as well, really, really good week. Good night of racing as well. Both of you had really good pace tonight.
Yeah, thanks, mate. We've got a good team here at Alpine, and they're all a good bunch of fellas. So I'd like to thank them fellas too for all their help, and you guys too for your commentary and everything, boys.
Cheers for that, and obviously Buster will be very happy. I know Buster's really keen about his Alpine team, and yeah, he'll be a very happy man this evening, I could imagine.
He sure will. Thanks, boys. I'm going to go and watch the footy.
Cheers. Thanks, Junkyard, picking up P3. So fantastic result from himself. Cam, do you want to have a chat with our P2 getter? He got close within 1.2 seconds, but I have a feeling it was a bit of fuel issues that may have cost him that race win.
Yeah, great race from you, Cashmash. I know it's probably not the way you liked it to go, but you looked like you were in prime position to win that race. Just let us know what your fuel was going into the race and how at what lap did you start to fuel save to make it to the end of the race.
Yeah, cheers, boys. Yeah, so I went 0.9 under on the fuel. And I was expecting like it would be okay throughout the whole race, but I was in quite a few battles at the start, which I was pushing quite a bit, and then I think I left the fuel saving a bit too late, and then yeah, Oscar on the mediums was just too quick. I just couldn't get back up, and then I finished like on 0 fuel right across the line. So, but yeah, no, I'm still really happy with it.
Yeah, it was a good race. And how was the strategy? Were you always gonna pit under that VSC, or was there like a bit of hesitation from you at that VSC?
Yeah, I was hesitating a little bit. Was hoping to go a bit more on the mediums. Just I think that better tires, but no, I think it was the right call to pit then and try just. It was just the fuel that cost me, and Broseph as well also wanted to pit under the virtual. So luckily I didn't impact on his race as well. We didn't pile up in the pit. So yeah, it's just the fuel. Probably just 0.1 extra, and I probably could have pushed a little bit harder.
Yeah, it was still a great race. Piastri just had the better strategy with the help of that VSC. Obviously, you wouldn't have been wanting to pit lap 8 onto hard tyres. That is just way too early. But the VSC kind of forced you to do that. But yeah, still a great race. And just one last question. How are you feeling for Baku next week? I know it's going to be an absolute hectic race at the streets of Baku, but how are you feeling for it?
Good, I think. I enjoyed Monaco. I got third in Monaco, so maybe the walls are, I think, something that I actually like. So I'm feeling pretty good about it.
That's good. Well, yeah, good race with me. I know Scotty and Broseph are in this comp block, so they'll be happy as the Haas TP and drivers. Yeah, good race with me, Cashmas. And yeah.
Thanks, boys.
I will actually ask, how are you fitting? Obviously, new driver to the Haas as a full-time driver. Obviously, great pace from yourself. What are you sort of expecting? Obviously, coming into the sort of the second half of the season. Obviously, you and Broseph are very sort of line up in T3. How are you sort of feeling? Obviously, we sort of heard from Baku, but coming into the second half, obviously securing that full-time seat.
Yeah, like when Broseph slid into my DMs, I was very happy because I was hoping to get a full-time seat at Inters, and it's actually my first racing league, so no, I'm very happy. I think I was expecting to be similar to Broseph, considering Jeddah, we qualified with the same time, so I thought that was going to be the theme, but yeah, I put a bit of extra practice in this past week, so I think, if I can get some time to practice again, I feel like I could get top 5 pretty often. We'll see though.
Yeah, well, you definitely showed tonight. Obviously, picking up the sprint race victory and then just falling short for that feature race win. But great points for Haas from you tonight, and well done. And look forward to see what you can do in Baku next time out.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
All right, so we
will not be able to join.
Yeah, so unfortunately, we don't have the race winner, but Cam, just a quick word on Oscar. Obviously, very strong in the sprint, very strong in the feature, and that old strategy ultimately worked for him, even with the extra 3 seconds he had at the end.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I didn't think he could win that race when he pitted, coming out so far back, but obviously the medium tyres were just that much quicker than the hard tyres at the end, obviously, because they had to pit so early with that. The meds were cooking. Didn't help that Cash Mash had that fuel. But yeah, Piastri had everything, pretty much nothing going his way. The pens really didn't help him. VSC was something that helped a bit, but yeah, I mean, he just showed that he has pace, and he gained, 10, 11 positions, possibly? I think.
Started 13th, so he moved up 12 positions, so he rightly given the game's driver of the day, and I think they possibly will be our driver. Actually, we might as well vote on it now. Driver of the day, obviously, Oscar moving up 12 positions. Solid race for Mercy in that feature, moving up 8. F1 Original Paulie had a solid sprint race up a point, gaining a point, and then he moved up 6 positions, finishing just outside the top 10. So definitely a few drives in there, but I think we have to go Oscar with the podium in the sprint, finishing P3, and then now the race victory. I think overall we just had a great race pace, and I think he has to be my driver of the day.
Yep. Cannot disagree with you there, Scotty.
Yeah, so Oscar will be the driver of the day for round 9. So that will wrap us up. So 1 tier down, we got 2 to go at Imola, and if anything is what we've seen tonight in the other 2 tiers, it is going to be a fascinating watch. I think Saturday's meant to be dry for tier 2, but apparently we might be getting a little bit of rain for tier 1. So I think I might be a little bit. I think I might be a little bit happier than what you are, Cam, coming into this weekend. But final thoughts on the race before we do go.
Yeah, sprint was a bit iffy, but hey, the feature race was beautiful. It was great racing. Obviously, as you said in there, the top 7 or like top 5 or something. We were in one frame shot with only one VSC. That just proves how close this tier can be, and that anyone can win if you keep it clean.
Yeah, exactly right. And something that both of us will be mindful for coming into the weekend as well. So obviously you'll see me in the race seat tomorrow afternoon, and then Cam, obviously you're in the seat tomorrow, Sunday afternoon as well. So both of us will obviously have a chance to drive. But we'll have Apollo, I believe, in the comms box on Saturday afternoon for tier 2, so lovely to hear him back in comms. So he'll walk you through the Imola Sprint for tier 2, and then JP, as always, heading off tier 1 on Sunday afternoon. But Cam, big thank you for jumping in with the comms for me for tier 3 tonight. Pleasure as always.
Always great commentating with you, Scotty.
And we thank everyone at home for watching. Great amount of action we've seen tonight, and can't wait to see what happens over the next 2 afternoons for tier 2 and tier 1. So catch us 5 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, Australian Eastern Standard Time, for tier 2 in the Imola Sprint round. So again, big thank you from all of us here at Inters, and we'll catch you tomorrow afternoon for tier 2.